On this week's 2-minute tip, one of the most dangerous weeds in the vegetable garden. This right here is morning glory weed. It's a warm season weed, and we usually don't start seeing it until the temperatures really start to crank up in July. It likes moist soils, so we don't always see it in the middle of the garden between our rows, but where we have our drip irrigation along our rows, this stuff likes to pop up between our plants. It's a vining weed, so it's going to crawl along the ground, and once it finds one of your vegetable plants, it's going to start climbing all over it, and it's going to strangle those plants and inhibit those plants. So it's really bad news for your vegetable garden. If you let this stuff mature, it's going to start to produce some funnel shaped flowers that can be anywhere from white to pink to kind of purplish. And those flowers are going to produce seed that can cause big problems. You see, the morning glory seed can persist for up to 20 years in your soil. So if you let these things go to seed, you're going to have morning glory problems for a long time coming. You might find some crawling all over the plants in your squash patch. You might find some here trying to climb up one of your okra plants. But probably the worst place to get morning glory weed is here in the sweet potato patch. You see, because they're in the same family, morning glory looks a lot like sweet potatoes. The leaves look very similar there. And because of this, morning glory can be very hard to identify in the sweet potato patch, so it's hard to find them and pull them out of there before they strangle all your sweet potato vines. I want to tell you a couple easy ways that you can tell the difference. The first big difference is the shape of the leaf. So you'll notice the sweet potato leaf has these little incisions on the side of it there, whereas the morning glory leaf is kind of smooth around the side. So that's one of the big differences there, is the leaf shape, incisions versus no incisions on the morning glory. The stem here is another indicator. The morning glory stem is not as thick as the sweet potato stem. So if you look at the sweet potato vine, those stems there are going to be a lot more thick and robust than on these morning glory weeds. So if you see these thin stems and that kind of rounded leaf there, you know you've got a problem and you need to remove it. So if you see this stuff in your vegetable garden, pull it up as soon as you can before it starts strangling your plants, and definitely before it starts to flower and go to seed. Because if you let this stuff go to seed, you're going to be fighting it for a long time, and we don't want that to happen. I hope you enjoyed this week's 2-minute tip. We'll see you next week.